The Republican-controlled U.S. House just yesterday passed a bill that would give the government, which means soon Donald Trump, broad powers to viciously punish nonprofit organizations that it deems support terrorism with no evidence necessary for that label to be applied to them. And the worst thing about this, I think, is that a number of Democrats signed on to give Donald Trump that power he craves so very much. Now, there is a little bit of good news, even in that area, but we'll get to the bad first. So the bill gives the Treasury Secretary the power to strip nonprofits it claims support terrorism of their tax-exempt status, which is crucially important for these organizations. They don't have to adhere to any evidentiary standard in releasing their findings, and the groups that are targeted could appeal to the IRS or to the courts for review for a brief period of time. But even if they do that, first of all, no evidence is required to label them that, so I don't know what evidence they could provide that would get it taken off. And even if they did appeal it, it could really hurt an organization that the government officially labeled you a supporter of terrorism. And so Jamie Raskin, as well as many others, have been fighting back against this. He said a sixth grader would know this is unconstitutional. They want us to vote to give the president Orwellian powers and the not-for-profit sector Kafkaesque nightmares. He called the bill sloppy and said it constituted a violation of due process and, quote, contains everything condemned by the Supreme Court. So Jordan, personally, I'm not worried. If the Supreme Court has taken a strong, clear stance in the past, they would never just totally go in the opposite direction because now they can. But that said, I want your thoughts. And while you give those thoughts, let's identify the 15 Democrats that voted to give Donald Trump the ability to nuke from orbit any nonprofit he doesn't like. What do you think?
Yeah, so you're looking at 15 Democrats who not just supported this bill, but got it over the finish line in the House. It needed 218 votes to pass. It got 219. Think about that, because 15 Republicans did not vote. These are the people who passed this bill. You can see a lot of familiar names, especially within the context of our foreign policy and a current big issue, the war in Gaza. Many of these people are top recipients of AIPAC funds, and that's how this bill, if it makes it through the Senate and Biden passes it, they're going to start by revoking the nonprofit status for pro-Palestinian advocacy organizations. Yep. It's not going to stop there, and that's why it's so concerning. These people do not care because they are loyal to AIPAC. After that, think about it in the broader context of our foreign policy. How conversations have gone, especially within the war on terror in the immediate aftermath of 9/11. How were people who opposed the war described? As terrorism sympathizers and supporters. If you don't support this illegal war that was launched on lies, you support the terrorists. We are so rudimentary in our thinking. We are so simple-minded. This is how they're going to go. We can expect tensions with Iran to flare up, maybe even a hot war with Iran. If you oppose that war, you're going to be labeled a terrorism sympathizer. Any anti-war advocacy group is going to then be described as supporting terrorism by the Treasury. They don't have to provide any evidence. They can revoke your nonprofit status and in one fell swoop, just completely kill any anti-war advocacy in this country. Think about the long-term consequences here. Do you think they're going to stop there? Then any progressive group, any liberal group, they will crush anything in their power. That's why the ACLU and nearly 200 other groups signed on to an open letter saying we have to stop this. So you could take power. If you go to WTFhappensnow.com, it's a site I set up that allows you to instantly call your senators. It connects you with their phone lines to their offices. Ask them to say no. Ask them to vote no. You can stop this. We saw momentum shift just in a week from the first vote to the second. 40 some Democrats withdrew their support, including the co-sponsor of the bill, because people were speaking up. WTFhappensnow.com. You can change the outcome on this bill.
I love it. Yeah, and that's sort of, I guess, the good news that I was referring to earlier, that sure, 15 did, but many didn't because of the pressure. And so if you want a little bit of hope for maybe something good to happen in the next 4 years, evidently pressure can still work. And in the meantime, I don't know exactly when this bill, like in theory, would go into effect or whatever, but like it would be at least kind of funny if Joe Biden used it to strip a bunch of right-wing organizations their tax exempt status because they supported militias and stuff. But it's probably not going to happen. Also, I just want to briefly mention Colin Allred is on the list. Come on, man. Seriously? And also, this is not a surprise, but Henry Cuellar. Hey, remember when Nancy Pelosi protected Henry Cuellar so we wouldn't be stuck with Jessica Cisneros? Jesus. The name that bothers me the most isn't on this list because he's in the Senate, but Adam Schiff. I hate so many Democrats. Thanks for watching our video. Did you know that you can support our show by becoming a subscriber? Just click the subscribe button and also ring the bell so that you get notifications when we're live or when we post new content.